Well, it's no secret that sending a child to college these days only costs a small fortune, just when considering tuition. But really, it doesn't have to be. Michigan native Norma Richards has written the book Free Ride to College, and she gives her advice after sending all three of her children to college on full academic scholarships. Now, she says other parents can do the same, and we're lucky enough to have her join us now live in studio with a little bit of advice and talking about the book. We just put it out there. This is very overwhelming when you start planning, and you say the key in all of this is thinking way ahead of time. You don't just start thinking about this your senior year of college.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When I started to think about grooming my kids for a full academic scholarship, I knew that I had to build a competitive student profile. So I started when they were in elementary school, and I also planned, and by the time they got to high school and were ready for scholarships, they applied.
Okay, and you have 4 points you say you like to hit on this.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first one. We have that on the screen there. Plan ahead. That's what we just talked about. You want to start early in terms of finding out what your child needs to know to even get a scholarship.
Absolutely, and there are many different types of scholarships. So you need to know what you need to have in place to get the scholarships. In addition,
what would be an example of something that might have surprised you that you said, oh, I didn't know they needed to know that, but let's put our time and energy into it?
Well, one of the things that people don't understand, that there's scholarships for everybody. There's scholarships if your kid has a 2.0 or a 3.5. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a high achieving scholarship student that you'll get scholarships.
Okay.
There are a lot of students that graduate with 3.5s that don't have a full ride.
And your second point is organization's key. Tell me about that.
Well, you have to have everything in place. You have to know when the scholarships are, the deadlines are, what do you need to say to the scholarship committees, what's going to give your child the edge.
Okay, commitment?
You have to make a commitment because you have to apply for a lot of scholarships.
How many did you apply? Give me an example for one child.
We applied for at least 60 scholarships.
60? Okay.
And so in those 60 scholarships, we wrote over 100 essays.
Okay.
I should say they wrote over 100 essays. And you're going to get about 30% of what you apply for. Okay. That's if you say the right things to the scholarship committees.
Now, where do you find out about all of these scholarships?
Well, I do have a section in the book that shows you where to look for the scholarships. I don't dwell on looking for scholarships because they're fairly easy to find. I dwell on what to say to the scholarship committees and what to present to them.
What would be one bit of advice? One thing that is a positive thing to say and one thing you may not want to say?
Okay, one bit of advice for getting scholarships. When you write essays, you always want to talk about how you're giving back to the community right now and how you're going to, in the future, give back to the community once you graduate from college.
That's a key point. I also thought it was interesting because, like, I always thought, oh, you're graduating high school, so maybe your freshman, sophomore year, you start doing some research, but you're saying by then, many of those scholarships are handed out. You need to start doing research middle school.
Absolutely. Middle school, and I tell you why. There are a lot of scholarships for students that in their junior year of high school. You have to be ready for those scholarships. So you can't wait until then to be ready. You have to know about these things way in advance so you'll have everything in place.
So the key is also applying. As many times, like you said, your first child, you did 60 applications.
60 applications.
You keep applying.
Over 100 essays.
Wow, okay.
So another thing is writing. They have to have very good writing skills.
And you also said being positive is always important because it can be discouraging, especially for a young person.
It is
when
a
they
daunting
keep
task.
applying. How do you stay positive?
Well, if you know that it's a numbers game, that you're going to get 30% of what you apply for, and if you've done your homework and you've built your competitive student profile, you're going to get scholarships. It was my goal to have my kids all get full rides, and I tell you.
So you had 3 children, all 3 full rides. They are all now engineers, and what schools did they attend?
Ohio State, and Morgan State.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm excited to look at that. I have a 4- and a 2-year-old, so I need to start applying, and researching.
Well, this is the thing. It's a series of books. So this was the last book in the series. Now I'm writing a book on what you should be doing preschool and elementary,
I like that.
middle school, and then freshman through junior year. So we have 2 more books coming out in a couple months.
Sounds good. We'll make sure
this book everybody should read.
We'll put it on our Facebook and our social media site as well. We appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.